Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Sebastian James. He has a brand new song out. It is called American Made, and I'm super excited to talk to him all about it. Sebastian, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here. How are you? What's going on?
Doing great. Yeah, super excited to do it. Of course, thank you for having me. Big fan of the show.
Nice.
So really honored to join. But yeah, things are going great. We're prepping for everything to come from this upcoming record. The first single came out recently, American Made. So really excited at the response that we're getting on that and looking forward to everything that's yet to come.
Oh man, you should be thrilled. Obviously, I'm not surprised that the feedback has been positive because the song is just bright and vibrant and just like it just makes you feel good. And honestly, I don't think there's a lot of music today that like aims to make you feel good. And not only does it sound great, but it also has a nice message about it. So that's kind of what I want to start off with talking about is like
Yeah.
what inspired you to make this song? What is it all about? Is there a story here?
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, when I was sitting down to really start to concept out song ideas and messaging and what it would look like for me to do a
Yeah.
solo record, I really just wanted to write something that was feel good music. I think
Nice.
real life for most people is hard quite often. So the more that
Yeah.
we can escape from that, and
Great.
put our headphones in and tune out and just think about the
Right.
good times, that was really my goal in regard to this song specifically. A title like American Made, I think, catches a lot of ears and eyeballs, and people are like, what is this about? Is this a political song? Is this a song about
Yeah.
muscle cars? What is it? And definitely
Sure.
nothing political. I'm not a political person at all. To me, American Made was just kind of the two words that really captured, I think, how I was raised, how my parents and grandparents
Yeah.
were raised, and then also how I'm raising my kids. It's about the American dream, which can mean something different to everybody. But to me, it's just about being good people, becoming better each day, and
Nice.
just building hands on memories. We're not focused on tablets and cell
Right.
phones, scrolling. It's like, as a father, I want to really make my moments count, I guess. And
Oh, I
American Made
totally
is,
understand.
yeah, that's really all that is. It's, hey, here's how I'm raising my kids. Here's what's important to me, and I hope it means something to you as well.
Nice. I mean, it sounds like you're doing it the right way, and obviously your music reflects that. I also think like, okay, before you listen to any song, obviously the title and the album artwork is the first impression you get from it. So I feel a lot of people, just like you said, are going to get an impression from American Made. And while it may not be a political song, and that is totally fine, we have enough of that, it gets people interested in what you're making here. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yep,
just like, oh, I don't know who Sebastian James is, but I'm American Made. I'm going to check out this song. So let's see what's
exactly.
going on here. And I really like that. And obviously the music speaks for itself in terms of just like being great and beautiful. And just the entire composition is just like it's like that, big warm hug that you kind of need in your life. And that's
Yep.
what you've
Yep.
made here, which is awesome. Um,
You.
Another thing I want to know about is so like obviously you operate under, the solo name. How does it work in terms of recording? Is it just you?
Yeah, so it's been primarily myself on the lyric side, but I have a great writing partner named Chad Borquin who
Nice.
composed pretty much all of the musical parts on the record. As far as the
Nice.
structure and the key, we worked hand in hand. I tell everybody he's the country to my rock and roll. So
Okay.
between the two of us, as we started to write, we really, I think, identified what our sound was. And that was my biggest fear up front, is I wanted to be 110% authentic, which sounds great on paper, but how do
Yeah.
you translate that into song? And working
Right.
with Chad the last 6 months really kind of solidified the answer to that question for me. So he and I have worked on everything together, a couple tracks on the record. I actually wrote with my dad,
Oh,
who was
cool.
a singer and guitarist. and kind of everything in between. So worked with him, I think, on two of those tracks. And then recording wise, I played all the drums. Actually started my musical career as a drummer back when I was like 12, 13. So
Oh,
that's something,
dang. Okay.
yeah, I still enjoy doing.
Sure.
And then to round out the bass on the recording and production side is a guy named Doug Kenworthy, who's kind of a Midwest regional legend, incredible bass player. He's
Nice.
engineering on the record as well, so
Cool.
kind of a jack of all trades, master of all trades, really. So that was the group for the studio. And then in the music video and live touring and things like that, we actually used Chad's son, Micah Borkman, who's an incredible bassist as well.
Cool.
Uh,
All in the
and
family.
yeah, all in the family. And then
Yeah,
since I can
seriously.
drum and sing, I brought in my pal Nigel Dupree, who I actually drummed for on some of my first touring opportunities. So it was a really fun kind of full circle thing for me to start behind the kit and him out
Nice.
front, and then to kind of reverse that. Yeah, so that's probably a longer answer than you were anticipating, but that's
No,
the
listen,
guys
this is the
I've got
things
on
that I
our
want to
team.
know about.
And
So the
the,
longer the answer when it comes to like the technical side, I'm all about that.
of it.
One thing you said though was like when you brought Chad on, he kind of brought the country and you brought the rock. And one thing I really enjoy about the song is that it does a great job of kind of like infusing so many genres into it to where it's
Yeah.
become kind of its own thing at the same time. So I want to hear from you, like, how are you explaining this song? Like when someone asks you, hey, I made a new song and this is what it is. What's like the elevator pitch for it?
It's so tough. I've had producers and marketing folks, everybody ask me that same question. And at first, I think I tried to maybe put it into a corner too much. They're like, okay, well, who are your influences or what does it sound like? I'm like, well, I
Sure.
love the Black Crowes, I love Southern rock, I love
Yeah.
kind of all of those rock and country crossover acts. And then the more that I started to listen to it, it just sounds like me. When I open up and sing,
Nice.
that's what I sound like. That's, what I write about. It came really quickly and really easily, which
Oh,
you hear a lot of artists say is the telltale sign of a good one.
yeah. It's true
So
though. I mean, listen, some people can work on a song for 6 months and still be pissed off at it, but it's the ones
yep,
that come, in whatever, a week or less that you're like, yeah, I didn't have to think twice. I didn't have to second guess myself. I put out this song and like this is what it is.
yep. No,
Yeah,
that's
I love
exactly
that.
what that one is. But yeah, I guess to answer your question, I try to tell people it's a song about unity. It's right down the middle. It touches multiple genres from rock to country to, kind of adult contemporary, maybe even a little bit of pop and some of the melodies and things
Sure.
that I've landed on. Um, and that's just really how I am as a listener. I love music from all backgrounds, being
Nice.
from Kansas City in the heart of the Midwest. I mean, we have all walks of life, which,
Right.
ends up being all types of music, all genres. So there aren't really any styles that I don't like or that I haven't taken, some element from and incorporated into my songs. So it's really just a hybrid of just
No,
about anything,
man.
let's say.
I love that, and I kind of think that's where the music industry is headed, especially with like, the advancements of production and no one just plays one instrument anymore. It's like, oh, I do this and I do that, and you can add in patches and post effects and all this other stuff. Your music doesn't just need to be country or rock or pop or Americana or whatever it is. It can really be a little bit of everything. I think one of the most important parts though is that you infuse yourself into it. That you're
Yep.
not just making music that to please people, rather like I made this music because this is a song that I'd want to listen to in the car. And like I think that this is missing from like the general scope of music. And I feel that's what this is what it is. This is like it's so much of everything that it becomes something new,
Yep. I couldn't
which
agree
is
more.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really our goal is let's write something that people can connect to that tells, an authentic
Yeah.
story. And it's relatable. It's an anthem for literally everyone.
I love that, man. Now in terms of other music, and we don't need to stray too far away from the song, but like in the future or in the present or whatever else you're working on, can people expect experimentation from, new sounds, new ideas? And again, you don't have to say too much.
Oh, totally. No, I'd love to clue you in a little bit there.
Yeah.
So we have a full length record coming out late summer, early fall, possibly.
Okay.
Really just taking everything as it comes. The radio campaigns for the singles are kind of our North Star as far as timelines and when
Okay.
everything comes out. But excited to announce the record will be called Old School Cool, which is
Great
kind of
name.
a sum of, yeah, it's a sum of all parts. It's a sum of
Yeah.
all my different influences and backgrounds, and it seemed like the easiest way to kind of capture what it means. So that'll be a full length record. Um, and funny enough, that I was trying to think of where we got that title. We had taken a family trip down to Disney World this past
Oh,
fall.
nice.
Was super immersed in writing, probably had half the record done. And my dad and I and my son had just got off of Space Mountain, which, if you're familiar with Disney, is kind of one of their old school
Oh,
rides.
yeah.
Still very cool, and it's got its own kind of vibe to it. And so we're walking down onto the concourse, and I was telling my dad and my son, I was like, man, that ride, it's not the same as Tron. It's not a new school over the top,
Sure.
thrilling roller coaster, but it's still got this like old school cool vibe. And I remember
Nice.
just like almost dropping my phone on the spot
Like,
and being, oh
I
my God,
got it.
that's
I
it,
got
that's it.
it.
And so then
That's awesome.
that immediately became the name of the record, and I started hearing
Nice.
the hook, old school cool, kind of in my
Right.
head. Okay, maybe we got a song here. So the rest of the night, I'm like trying to be hands-on dad while also,
Just like
letting
the wheels are turning.
letting
I
the
love
wheels
that.
turn. And so a lot of that song was really written at the Disney parks.
That's awesome. Put in
So
the
that's
liner
kind of,
notes.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Walt Disney. Thank you, Space
Exactly.
Mountain. Just kidding.
Yeah,
I
and
uh I
he's
I
from
think
here.
that's a
Yeah.
great point though, is just like and it doesn't even need to be music, just for creative people or whatever you're trying to do. If you're so super immersed in it, sometimes you kind of lose that magic, you lose the steam. You need to step away from things and live your life in order to like put more back into the record. And so like it makes me really happy hearing that story, knowing that you weren't like sitting at a desk being like, okay, album name, what's it gonna be? It like just kind of happened organically, which is pretty
Yep.
special.
It's just like writing a great song, it's the ones that just happen,
Yeah,
without trying to force it. And so, yeah, the record I'm really excited about. And to kind of answer your question, it is a little bit of everything. It's
nice.
still me, and to kind of say it again, I feel like I'm a little bit of everything. I'm a little bit rock and roll, I'm a little bit country,
Yeah,
I'm a
man.
little bit old school, I'm just kind of a blend of a lot of things. So the second single that'll come out probably in June is really the crossover song, and so that'll go out to Hot AC, which is like adult contemporary
Nice.
charts, through Billboard, and that one I think is going to capture everybody.
Cool,
Um,
man.
it's right down the middle. It's kind of like I don't even know how I would coin it again. It reminds me a lot of a Daughtry song, where
Oh,
you're like,
nice.
is this country? Is this rock? Is this pop? So
I
that's a
like
big,
that though, because it kind of like it casts a wide net for the type of person that can enjoy it.
yep.
As you probably know, so many people write off country music. Like, if you don't like one country song, oh, I'll never listen to it. But so much
Indeed.
music is rooted in country and blues and just like straight up Americana sounds that if it's
Yes,
not 100% full in, maybe even 50, people are way more open to listening to it if it's got the other elements about it.
totally agree.
Um, a
Totally agree.
little, just a little bit more on this album. And again, not too much, but in terms of the actual writing process, you said that American Made came pretty quickly. Did the other ones happen fast? Did you kind of change your style of writing, or did they just, pop in your head at separate times?
Yeah, that's a great question. Each one kind of has its own unique story, I would say. Over the course of 6 months, we wrote probably close to 20 songs and
Oh
then chopped
wow.
it down to 10. And ironically, the 10 that we got rid of were the ones that were forced, and that
Sure.
took too long and it felt like we're just trying too hard here. Um, but on the 10 that made the final cuts, a lot of them were spur of the moment, kind of off the cuff ideas. I was just telling my wife the other day that I'm most creative and inspired when I'm exercising. So if I'm out taking a run or if I'm biking or if I'm
Yeah.
lifting weights, you got a little caffeine flowing, your brain is firing on all
Oh,
cylinders.
totally.
So many times I'll be like 15 or 20 minutes into an exercise and boom, here's the hook, you know,
Nice.
and that's really how probably 75% of them started. Um, Really just all about the hook. And so this record, it was chorus first, idea or theme, all of that had to come first. And then I kind of reverse engineered everything else around it. And that was really a writing skill that took me too long to pick up on. I,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
I'm a very, poetic guy, I guess. So sometimes I would just start writing and writing, and I'd have
Yeah.
verses and what felt like novels, and then you would try to write a chorus to it, and it would never work. And so this
Yeah.
record was when I think I finally made that tweak and said, okay, it's chorus first, and then everything else really just fell into place.
I love that, man. I have a couple more questions for you.
Sure.
I wanna know, like, have you had the opportunity to play any of these songs live yet? Like, are you not necessarily touring, but are you doing, like, the local scene?
Sure. Ironically, no. Our whole process is completely backwards to anything
Okay,
that I've done to date and what we've done before. So, right out of high school, I started touring with Nigel, who had drummed in the American Made video,
nice.
and we hit the road, and we took an old school approach, and we worked our butts off, day in, day out. We'd play, we'd drive overnight, we'd play, and it was just a vicious repeating
Yeah,
cycle for a couple years. So I learned a lot during that part. And I think I learned a lot of what not to do, really,
okay.
as far as, being the guy who has to fund it and man the ship. And Nigel did an excellent job of that. But looking at doing it myself, I'm like, okay, I don't know that I'm cut out for all of that. So
Yeah,
we've really based our approach or our North Star off of the audience and where we're being most well received.
sure.
So all of the radio reports have started to come in, and really surprised where we're getting traction. Really surprised and excited about the responses. So we're going to kind of digest that, let the data help us determine where we start to do those tours and those runs at. And
Nice.
hopefully,
Cool.
yeah, closer to the album release, we'll be looking at, full-fledged run of dates and everything in it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the way to go, honestly. If you're in the midst of touring and recording and writing and literally doing everything at once, how can you be successful at any of it? You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Unless you're like a huge mega superstar, but at the same time, like you have a life, sounds like you have a family and a job. How can one person do ever? They just can't. They can't.
it's a lot.
I think you're doing it the right way here. You're not overextending yourself. You're focusing on the quality of actually recording the music and then figuring the rest out down the road. That's kind of the sweet spot. So, good
Totally.
on
Yeah.
you.
When they say music first, I think that's exactly what we did. I mean, we had
Absolutely.
no preconceived ideas of what was going to happen next. We said, hey, if we
Right.
land on 10 songs, we've got a record. If we land on five, maybe we've just got an EP, or maybe we only have a single or two.
Yeah,
Um, but we just let the songs kind of
totally.
do the talking, and it just kept flowing and flowing. And I mean, today I feel like I'm 4 or 5 songs into what could be a follow-up to this record. So it's just a constant grind.
I love that, man. You figure it out. You figure it
Yep,
out
learning
along the
as we
way.
go.
My last one for you here is it's basically okay for the person that is going to discover you from this interview. What is an opening message that you'd like to say to them before they listen to your music for the first time?
That's a tough one. I think just that I'm an artist really for the people. I feel like I'm here to be a voice for everyone. I know I've said it two or three times already, but it's for all backgrounds, all walks of life. The stories that I'm telling are real, and I think the audience will find that they can relate to just about all of them. So I kind of view
Nice.
myself as a megaphone to the world, of the good times, the bad times, and everything in between. So that's probably my one liner before they listen.
Nice. You've convinced me. I'm in. I'm in
All
for the
right.
rest of it. Listen, Sebastian, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. But before we wrap up here, let me please plug your music and everything else.
Sure.
So, if you didn't know, the song is called American Made. We will have the links in our articles so that you can listen and share and follow along and stay tuned for more. There is plenty more coming, so I say follow along now. And truly, man, this was a great conversation. I was so excited to first off listen to the song, which was awesome, but then talk to you and learn more about it. I'm excited for more. There's an album coming, and I'm just like I'm stoked to hear the singles, whatever else comes next.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you again for having me, and let's do this at least a couple more times in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to speak soon.
Thank you.
All
Take care,
right. Take
Austin.
care. Bye bye.
See ya.